Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And let me tell you, if you are dealing with any kind of stress, especially that affects your mind and body, and possibly hair too, then pay attention, because in today's health segment, we are delving into the profound impact that stress has on our overall well-being and its surprising connection to hair loss. Yeah. Now, joining us are two health experts. I'm absolutely grateful for them. We've got Dr. Savannah Smith in the building, who will be explaining how chronic stress affects different body systems. And then we have Dr. Kashmal Kalan, Medical Director at Alvi Armani Hair Restoration. I'm sure you've seen the pictures going around. They're doing phenomenal stuff. And he's going to be helping us discuss how stress can lead to hair thinning and shedding. Yo, guys, these are things I don't want to hear about at all. I think a lot of gents and females as well are dealing with this. But firstly, good morning. How are you doing? Are we stress-free?
Stress-free today.
Savannah's face is like, I don't know about that.
Can I say the hair's looking good, though? So there's something's going right.
No, it's a good start. It's an absolutely great start. First of all, congratulations on opening your second clinic. I think that's absolutely incredible. You're doing amazing work, and I've been watching on social media, Savannah, so very excited about that. But let's talk about stress, right? It is, of course, something both of you deal with on the daily and also when it comes to your patients. Stress, people think, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. But it actually has such a direct impact on our bodies and effects it might have in the long run. High blood pressure, for example. So can you talk about that relationship and what sort of things stress can cause?
Sure. So I think it's important to note that like your body's response to stress is actually a protective mechanism in the beginning.
Okay.
But when you're exposed to chronic stress, it actually increases your cortisol levels. And these not only pushes your blood pressure up, but it also pushes up your cholesterol levels as well as your blood sugar levels. And these all increase your risk to cardiovascular disease like heart attacks and even strokes as well.
Oh, it's serious stuff.
Yeah, man, that's some scary stuff already. We're jumping straight into this. Dr. Klein, maybe I can ask you the following as well. When it comes to this stress that we're talking about right now, how does it affect things like hair loss? And something I'm looking at, which I'm assuming I'm going to say this correctly, but please correct me if I am wrong. Telogen effluvium.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Is that close?
Nice.
Telogen effluvium.
Telogen effluvium.
That's the fancy term that we use.
What's happening in the body and what exactly is that?
So basically, as Dr. Savannah mentioned, stress does affect us widespread.
Yeah.
And you get acute stress and chronic stress.
Right.
But the effect on the hair follicle per se is very much a unique effect. So we have three phases of growth. You have a growth phase, a resting phase, and a shedding phase. And when the body goes through severe stress, there's almost like a trigger event that happens, and all those follicles that are in their growth phase get halted and get temporarily shoved into the shedding phase.
Yo.
So that is what telogen effluvium actually means. It's pushing follicles into shedding, and that's when you can start noticing a whole bunch of hair all over your clothes, the floor, the bathroom,
in the shower,
the comb, etc. And when you start noticing an increase from what you used to losing, then you know that something chronic is happening here. And most of the time, there's stress that is causing all of that.
Oh, wow. I think a lot of Mzansi just started listening and turned the volume up after that. Like, hey, hang on, that's
Could
me.
be. Absolutely. And I think it's probably more common than what we think, right?
Most certainly, especially with hair loss. The
Yeah.
thing is, we never realize the effect that stress has on our body. So we always take it as, this is just normal, this is an average thing that's happening to the average person on the planet. But the problem is, when it starts getting excessive and we don't treat it early on, that can lead to now us moving into a space where we're going into severe thinning and even into balding. So important to look after your stress.
Yes, absolutely.
And you almost find with that, it's like the snowball effect. And now you're stressing about the fact that you're losing more hair, then it just becomes even worse and worse.
Oh my goodness, you're double-edged sword. Well, Savannah, let's talk a little bit more about other effects that stress might have on our bodies when it comes to especially the season of flu season, right? Does it weaken your immune system, and what impact does it have in that regard?
Yeah, so studies have actually shown that stress decreases our lymphocyte count. So your lymphocytes is a type of white blood cell in the body that protects you against infections. So the more stress you have, the lower your white cell counts. This then increases your risk to common infections like viruses, like your common colds and flus, and also cold sores. So a lot of the time you'll see when people are stressed, they tend to get cold sores, and this is the reasoning behind it.
Oh my goodness. Now I've got my eye on people. I'm going to see what exactly is going on. That's a scary thought.
You mentioned something, Dr. Savannah, about cortisol being a part of this thing that gets released when we're talking about stress, right? So, Dr. Kalan, how does this possibly affect hair loss? Is there a correlation between the two when it comes to hair loss and maybe hair thinning as well?
Most certainly. So cortisol is definitely an inflammatory sort of hormone in the body.
Okay.
And when you're stressed, cortisol does get released in higher levels. And what it does to the actual hair follicle is, if I can use a silly example, if you have a hose pipe that's giving you a good flow of water, the cortisol is kind of just putting a foot on that hose pipe. So you're preventing nutrients, blood flow. Because of this overall inflammation that you're getting a disruption in the amount of nutrients, blood flow, oxygen that's getting to the follicle. And when you start limiting the nutrients that a follicle gets, that follicle doesn't like it. It starts regressing. It starts showing signs of thinning, easily breakage.
Sure.
It starts showing even sometimes a color change that can happen very abruptly. So all of a sudden people are like, I'm going gray, but it's just a stress response because that follicle is not achieving the nutrients that it needs. So as I said, it's like a hose pipe, and then all of a sudden that supply gets cut off. They have also done further studies, and cortisol itself can dysregulate how the stem cells work together to actually communicate and start producing new follicles.
Sure.
So the cortisol has a double effect almost on the follicle, and again, all induced by stress.
This is crazy. Like, to me, I think about this term of like de-stressing. That's like old school. Now we just should grow our hair, because that means you need to be stressing. You need to be putting in the good stuff.
I see you. Round on his journey.
He's on a journey.
I
Maybe
love
I'm going to
it.
go de-stress right now.
Well, I'm really curious about if stress is always bad, because sometimes stress is a motivator, you know? So at what point do we go, no, I actually need to readjust my lifestyle now?
I think when it starts affecting like your functions of daily, like your daily functions, like you're struggling to concentrate, you're starting to focus, you're now maybe experiencing memory loss, then we know that stress is actually negatively affecting your life. But when most people experience stress differently, so you'll know when you've reached your limits and you're just like, this is now enough. I need to get some help, or I need to make some changes.
Wow.
Well, this conversation is not enough.
Yeah.
We're not going to allow you to leave.
Please, I've got so many questions.
We've got more questions, and hopefully you do too as well, so you can definitely come through. We do have a part 2 with this esteemed panel of doctors here that are guiding us through this incredible conversation.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Morning Show, and we're going to make you feel good, all right, because we're going to actually help you on your hair journey when it comes to the good, the bad, and even the ugly, whatever it may look like for you. We've got some great panelists that are going to help you navigate the space when it comes to that. But of course, we put the question to you first and asked you to send via message or voice note any of the issues that you might have when it comes to your hair, especially when it comes to stress, too, on 0634088863, and also to hit us up on our socials and use that hashtag Expresso Show. And that was our Good Morning post for today, which we'll touch on and, of course, get back to our conversation. Shall we look at a couple of comments that have come through from all of you? I think we should start there. Well, from Teresa, it says, good morning, my favorite beautiful Expresso family. I used to have a hairline problem caused by plaiting my hair. Oh, that's interesting. My stylist suggested that I actually go for hair treatment, and my hair just started growing again from there. We'll definitely get the expert's opinion on that, but thank you for sharing that, Teresa. If we have any more, let's get into this one. It says, 2 years after moving to Gauteng, I started losing my hair on the back of my head. Oh, that's interesting. It was very frustrating, and I've tried everything, and everyone says it's winter. I always lose hair at this time of the year, but it's been like 6 months. What are they going to do? This is the question that we have to put out there. Many stories about hair loss. Another one from Kaylin saying, good morning, team. After going natural, I felt like this, but it has been the best decision I've ever made. To have my hair my hair is out of control sometimes. Mine too. I got natural hair, and I wake up looking crazy every other morning, okay? I relate to that on a deep level. We also have one more voice note before we get back to our experts.
For the opportunity. So I've had reasonably straightish strand of hair, but for like the last year or so, my hair's become very curly, just to say that I'm over 60. So I'm not sure if it's hormone related, but anyway, be that as it may, I'm quite loving the curls. However, my hair seems to be falling out a lot more. And I was wondering, what could I do to stop the hair falling out? Thanks, bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being honest and getting in touch. I'm telling you now, you're not the only one that is experiencing this. So we're definitely going to touch on that in just a bit as we continue the conversation with our wonderful health experts that join us on the couch. We've got Dr. Savannah Smith as well as Dr. Kashmal Kalan, Medical Director of LV Amani Hair Restoration, to help us understand the profound impact of stress on our overall well-being. Dr. Savannah, Dr. Kalan, thank you so much again for being here. There were so many topics that had come through that I just want to touch on before we move on, especially when it comes to a 60-year-old woman, straight hair moving into curly hair. She mentioned hormones as well. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
So this is quite a common thing that we see. And when we find patients actually reaching out to us is when they actually see a change in the texture of their hair.
Right.
Because people are used to having their hair a certain way, and then all of a sudden, if it gets very dry, very brittle, or even from straight to curly, it does start giving us red flags, or the patient rather, a bit of red flags. So the important thing at that stage is definitely to seek out some care. And I always tell patients to always start with a consultation, because with hair, there is so many myths and truths and fallacies out there that often don't work.
Yeah.
So by the time a patient has come to us, they've been through the mill already. They've almost lost all their hope.
Wow.
But if you started in the right place at the first point, it would have been a much smoother and easier journey. So it's important to understand that there's many causes of hair loss. It's multifactorial in nature. But understanding the root cause and then forming a definitive treatment plan is always the best way to get on top of the problem.
I'm just glad that there's some sort of solution, because I know the stress, again, that this could cause so many people when they just cannot see the light. Every day, hair is just falling out. So we've spoken about a couple of factors like hormones and stress that impact this. How about sleep? Sleep deprivation, too much sleep, if there's such a thing. Does sleep have any sort of impact on stress and hair loss?
Definitely on stress. So studies have actually shown that when you're stressed, you actually have your sleep duration decreases, but also the amount of REM sleep you get decreases. And REM sleep is that really good sleep where your body gets to recover.
Okay.
This then decreases the overall quality of your sleep. When you're lack of sleep, we all know you feel irritable,
Yep.
you're cannot focus, cannot concentrate it, and you're just a bit moody during the day. And that really then leads to this sleep stress cycle, which is like a vicious cycle. You go to bed at night, you can't fall asleep, so you're feeling stressed. You wake up in the morning, you're sleep deprived, you're stressed because you're sleep deprived. And the cycle just continues. It's very difficult to break that cycle.
Yeah, and hopefully people will seek medical help and attention from experts if they are noticing, because that's also what's important, right? The awareness of kind of seeing yourself in the same rhythm over and over again. Dr. Kalan, can I talk to you a bit more about lifestyle, about diet, about exercise? These are words that sometimes we don't want to hear because life is just so busy and so hectic. But what impact does that have on stress?
So just with anything in life, if we have a well-balanced, healthy life, balanced mental well-being, oftentimes we see better results throughout our body. And the same is true for our hair.
Yeah.
So we often tell patients that come to us that you got to start treating from within. You got to be healthy, balanced diet. So there's nothing in particular that I'm going to say, eat 10 kilograms of this and you're going to get your hair back. But having a good array of food, veg, the proportions of fruit and veg in the day, making sure that you're not having a lot of processed foods, that will help in terms of your diet. Exercise is extremely important because what it does do is it helps regulate cortisol as well.
Right.
So you can start reducing cortisol levels by being very, very healthy in terms of your exercise, and then just in terms of your mental well-being. And I think this is a space that we don't talk about often enough, but mental health plays an incredible role, not just in terms of stress and in our hair, but multifactorially as well. So it's important to always look at hair loss holistically.
Okay.
Yes, there are treatments, there are procedures that we have, but one has to be great from the inside in order to start producing great hair from the outside as well.
Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I absolutely love that holistic approach, because it's not one or the other. It's everything kind of playing its part as well to create an overall optimal human being, which is what we want. But sometimes it does get a little bit overwhelming when we look at our situation, right? Perhaps you can both touch on small steps that we can take in order to really make an impact on our stress levels.
I always tell my patients, and I start with the same points, to create healthy boundaries.
Okay.
I feel like as an adult, it's very difficult for us to sometimes say no to certain things. So when you feel like you've got too much on your plate, it's okay to say no. I think a second point that would be like time management.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like procrastination is so easy in the world we live in at the moment with social media. You can go onto any social media app and go down a rabbit hole for hours and
It's
lose
relatable.
complete track of time. And I feel like if we limit our social media intake, we might improve our time management skills. And I think also my last point is that if you really feel like you cannot cope or you're really struggling, to seek professional help. Like, it's okay to ask for help. You can go to your doctor, you can go to a therapist, and seek professional help if you feel like you're just struggling.
Sure. How about you, Dr.
Yeah, I think the important thing is it's okay not to be okay. And be comfortable with that, because once you realize that you do have a problem, even if it's small, the minute you start treating it, it has, again, a widespread effect on the body, not just on your hair, but in terms of every other aspect of your health as well. So it's always about seeking care if you know that you're not in a good space. Don't feel ashamed to seek care, because at the end of the day, as doctors, we are here to help.
Yeah.
We do have solutions, we will listen, we will understand, and together we can work together to create something that will be beneficial for the patient.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to be taking notes throughout. I also feel like the older I'm getting, the more I feel stressed. But I'm also a woman, right, that moves through the world and has been told for the longest time that you just got to manage whatever's on your plate and manage it well, manage it with grace, manage it with dignity. So I'm curious about how stress actually impacts men and women. Does it look different? Does it present differently?
I think it does. I think it's men's mental health for, month
Awareness
this month.
month,
Yes.
yes.
I think it's important because a lot of men don't know how to ask for help. So women tend to. They'll go to the doctor. They might not ask those around them because they want to be the strong one all the time. But men don't ask for help at all because they're just ashamed of asking for help. And I think it's so important that men know that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
But it does present differently in men and in women.
My word, my goodness. Would you say the same?
Yeah,
thing?
100%. And the same is true for hair loss, if we can take
Yes,
it to
please.
that. When females are experiencing hair loss, I mean, I have queues outside the clinic because the minute they see more than they should on their comb, I mean, they're already alerted that there's a problem. But with males, they tend to have this macho appearance and they start losing their hair. They want to shave their scalps before looking at any sort of real
Solutions.
protocol or
Yeah.
solutions. And the important thing here, just with stress, just with mental health, and just with hair loss, seek the care, because the earlier you start the process, the better the overall journey will be.
I love that. Well, where can people get a hold of you? I know many of them are saying, Carissa, the solution is here. How do we actually access it? I know you've got 4 practices open right now, Dr. Savannah, Dr. Kalan too. Ryle was saying earlier that you are present everywhere. How can people get in touch with you?
So for LV Armani, it's very simple. Go onto our website, which is lvarmani.co.za. From there, I mean, we've got a contact page and we'll be in touch with you. But we're also available on all social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. So please reach out to us and we'll be able to help you.
I love that.
Same for us. You can find us on all social media platforms, Eno Health Clinics, or you can go on our website and get in contact with us.
Oh, I love that, Dr. Kalan, Dr. Savannah, thank you so much. Appreciate this. I know so much knowledge has been soaked in by so many of our viewers to have an even better day than what they've started with. And speaking about somebody having a better day, we're going to find out how Ryle is going to improve his look just a little bit with your help.